Today, we're zeroing in on a super fundamental piece of the Web3 puzzle, especially in the Solana ecosystem. That's Metaplex.
Exactly. And for you listening, our goal today is to cut through all the noise, really explain what Metaplex is, why it's such a big deal, and most importantly, why it matters to you, even if you're not like a developer building the next big decentralized app.
Well, we'll start with the basics, what Metaplex is and how it works. Then we'll look at why it's gotten so popular. After that, we'll explain why the non-developer Web3 community, like people who aren't coding, should be paying attention. We'll even highlight a really cool example of Metaplex in action. And then, just for fun, we'll explore how you could use Metaplex for a Web3 project of your own.
I like it. Sounds good to me. So first things first, what is Metaplex?
All right, let's break it down. From what we've learned, Metaplex is basically a protocol that lives on the Solana blockchain.
And as their site says, the main thing it does is help create digital assets and build securely on-chain with a focus on what they call web-scale performance and that kind of speed and efficiency. In the blockchain world, that's a game changer.
Big time. Now, the website talks about three key components of Metaplex. So let's start with the first one, the Digital Asset Standard, or DAS.
The DAS. Yeah, this is fundamental. The website actually compares it to like the ERC 721 and ERC 20 standards on Ethereum. Think of an NFT. It's like a digital certificate of ownership, right, for something unique. The DAS is like the format for these certificates on Solana, making sure everyone recognizes and understands them. So your Solana NFTs can work smoothly on different platforms. It's like universal compatibility for your digital collectibles.
And the website says, pretty boldly, that Metaplex has been used to create basically all tokens and NFTs on Solana. That's a huge statement, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely huge. It means it's widely accepted. It's the standard. Okay, so that's the DES. What about the second component? That's the Metaplex program library. What's the deal with that?
So think of the program library as a collection of pre-built, already tested, and reliable programs that live on-chain. These programs do all sorts of important things related to creating, selling, and using tokens and NFTs. So developers don't have to start from scratch every time. They can use this trusted library.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. It speeds up development like crazy and makes it way less likely there'll be errors or security problems because the code's already been checked. Plus, there are these robust SDKs, software development kits, and CLI tools, command line interface. It just makes it so much easier for developers to build really sophisticated applications that ultimately you might use. It's like democratizing development on Solana, letting creators focus on their unique ideas rather than like reinventing the wheel, which means more diverse and innovative applications that you can actually use.
Right. And then there's the third piece, the Metaplex Aura network. This one sounds super interesting, especially when we're talking about how data is managed.
Yeah, what's cool about Aura is it solves a really tough problem in blockchain. How do you find and retrieve information stored on the blockchain quickly and efficiently? It's a data network built specifically for Solana and the SVM, and it lets decentralized apps access data accurately and really fast. So like when you're on an NFT marketplace and you see prices and ownership details updating super quickly, a lot of times that's Aura working behind the scenes, giving you real-time, accurate information.
Awesome. So we've got the DAS as the foundation, the program library giving ready-made tools, and the Aura network making sure data flows smoothly. I think that gives us a pretty solid understanding of what Metaplex is. Now let's talk about why it's become so incredibly popular.
Right. So on their website, they actually call it the leading protocol for digital assets on Solana. It's a bold statement, but when you look at the numbers they share, it's hard to argue with them.
The numbers are mind-blowing, really. 881 million total assets created, $9.7 billion in total transaction value, 10.2 million unique signers. Those numbers really show just how massive Metaplex has become. Wow, almost $10 billion. That really puts things in perspective.
It does, doesn't it? But it's not just about the raw numbers. They also have these endorsements from major players in the Solana ecosystem, and those really drive home the benefits of Metaplex. It really shows how Metaplex is pushing the boundaries of what's possible with digital assets. It's become a core part of the Solana ecosystem, and a lot of projects trust it. So we've talked about what Metaplex is, we've talked about why it's gotten so big, and now the big question for you listening is this: why should you care about this tech, especially if you're not a developer?
That's the key question, right? Even if you're not coding anything, if you're using Web3 at all, if you own NFTs, participate in communities that use tokens, use decentralized apps on Solana, Metaplex is probably already impacting your experience.
It's like the foundation everything's built on. You might not see it, but it's there. like Metaplex's digital assets standard. That directly affects how the NFTs and tokens you own, or might buy or sell, actually work. And whether they can interact with different platforms on Solana, it ensures these assets are recognized and can be used across different apps on Solana. It's like how a standard USB drive can work on different computers.
Right. Without a widely accepted standard, it would be chaos. Your digital assets wouldn't work right, or you wouldn't be able to move them between different apps.
And it's also worth paying attention to how Metaplex is evolving, because that gives us a glimpse into what's coming next for Web3 assets. They're always adding new features, like they have this execute feature for Core, which basically makes NFTs more programmable, and they're collaborating with projects like ELIZA Framework. This suggests we're moving towards more dynamic, intelligent, agentic assets. Just look at their recent February roundup from 2025. It gives you a sense of all the innovation happening within the Metaplex ecosystem. This stuff could lead to totally new ways of interacting with digital assets, and even non-developers will eventually see and benefit from that.
So even just understand the basics of Metaplex, you start to understand how reliable, how secure, how future-proof these Web3 experiences you're already a part of actually are.
Right. So we know what Metaplex is. We know why it's so popular. We know why it matters to everyone in Web3. Now, let's talk about a specific example of how Metaplex is being used. Out of all these testimonials, what stands out to you?
Honestly, what really grabs me is how Solflare has integrated the Metaplex DAS, because it directly impacts how easy it is for everyday users to use their platform. A good wallet is essential for anyone using Web3, whether they're technical or not. And knowing that a big chunk of all transactions on Solflare are powered by Metaplex just shows how important this behind-the-scenes tech is for making those interactions smooth and user-friendly.
Ways across different apps. And again, that's something non-developers could directly benefit from.
Totally. Composability. It's like, imagine your NFTs could have different functions or even look different depending on where and how you're using them. It opens up so many possibilities. And then there's Brian from Triton. He talks about how the DAS API makes it easier to respond to user queries. That just highlights how important this infrastructure is for accessing data. If you're on a marketplace looking through tons of NFTs, you need that data retrieval to be efficient. That's what lets you see information quickly and accurately without waiting forever for things to load. And Metaplex's tools are a big part of that.
So whether it's your digital wallet working seamlessly, the possibility of more interactive and functional NFTs, or NFT marketplaces working efficiently, Metaplex is playing a huge role behind the scenes.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, so now for the bonus round. This is where we get to be creative. How would you, even if you're not a developer, use Metaplex to start your own Web3 project? Let's brainstorm a little.
Ooh, I like this. Imagine you've built a cool community online, right? Maybe it's people who love a certain type of book, or maybe it's a group of chess players. Even if you don't know how to code, you could use platforms built on Metaplex to create unique membership tokens. That's all thanks to the DAS.
Oh, that's clever. Those tokens could be like digital membership cards. People could use them to get access to exclusive online forums, special content, maybe even real-world meetups. And since they're built on the DAS, they'd be easy to verify and trade within the Solana ecosystem.
Right. Or maybe you're an artist, a writer, a musician. You could look into platforms that use Metaplex to tokenize your work. Instead of just selling digital copies, you could offer fans the chance to own a unique, limited edition piece of your creation as an NFT. And again, you'd be reliant on Metaplex's standards to create and manage those NFTs. This deep dive has really opened my eyes to how important Metaplex is. It's way more than just developer tools. It's a fundamental layer that affects everyone in the Solana Web3 ecosystem.
For sure. It's behind so much of what we do in the Solana space, especially with digital assets. And a lot of the time, we don't even realize it.
And if you're interested in learning more, go check out the Metaplex website. They have a ton of info, including links to all sorts of projects that are being built using their tech. It's amazing to see how much innovation is happening in their ecosystem.
Definitely worth checking out. It's a vibrant, constantly growing part of Web3.
So knowing that Metaplex is the foundation for so many digital assets, what kind of new Web3 experiences do you think we'll see in the future? That's something to think about.
A great question to end on.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Metaplex. We hope you learned something new about this incredible protocol.
And we hope you'll join us next time for another deep dive.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.